lot of time has passed, and it's been almost 10 years since Stranger Things Season 1 came out. I have changed. You have changed. But the question is, has Stranger Things changed? And if it has, is it for the better or for the worse? Welcome back, everybody. We are here to talk about Stranger Things Season 5. Volume 1 just dropped, and I just finished it. And it has been a long time since we've returned to Stranger Things. So the question, I think, in everyone's mind is, can this show possibly live up to the hype with its final season? We've been doing this for 10 years now. The other question is, will people still be here to watch this show? Well, first things first, Netflix broke the day Volume 1 dropped, so I think people are still here for it, but will they be here for the next part? We'll talk about that. Before I get into it, I want to know, who do you think is not going to make it out of this season? Or who do you think will? Let me know some of your theories for the show down in the comments below. Maybe we'll do a theories video and we'll talk about that. I want to talk about that. I hope you do. Volume 1 is essentially dropping us back into where we left off. They're still in school and they have their own drama within themselves after what happened in Season 4. I was actually going to wear my Eddie dress for that. I have an Eddie dress, but I thought I got this new merch for Season 5 and I thought I would give it a whirl. It's so cute though, guys. Why is it so cute? And I got an extra long sweater so I can wear it with thigh highs and shorts and call it a dress. So if you like this Stranger Things merch, you can check it out over in my shop over on Hot Topic. So obviously with the loss of Eddie, there's a lot that our characters are going to be dealing with and feeling. We see Dustin. Dustin is not doing great as a result of this. He is being tormented as well in school, and he is like remembering, Eddie. I mean, Eddie died in Dustin's arms, let's not forget. So it's really kind of messed with Dustin's head. And then because of that, there's a bit of a split in between our group where Dustin is not really as simpatico with his friends because he's processing this grief in a different way. And while everybody misses Eddie, I think for Dustin, it hit really hard. Like Eddie was literally his hero. And I love that we're getting some of that, carry forward of the effects of that loss. So all the kids are basically dealing with their own interpersonal relationships and everything that's going on with that. Meanwhile, they're still trying to hunt down Vecna to see if Vecna's still alive. Obviously, we toasted him at the end of Season 4, but people are not confident that he is dead. So they're trying to do these little crawls, like dungeon crawls, to find out where Vecna might be hiding and destroy him once and for all. All of Hawkins is basically on a lockdown, so no one can get in or out. So that's also something we're dealing with. There's heavy military presence. 11 is also sort of wrestling with Hopper in terms of her wanting to fully grow up and do her own thing, but Hopper wants to still protect her and keep her safe, so there's some tension there. A lot of what's going on in this volume, in my opinion, is a lot of the stuff that happens between characters. We also have the love triangle with Nancy and Steve and Jonathan still happening, and on the peripherals, we also have a little bit of bonding between Will and Robin, both being our queer characters, which I really liked. Also, Max is on a whole journey. Max is back. So that's basically what's happening in Season 1. How do I feel about all of this? And how do I feel about our approach to what's going on with Vecna's master plan? Because we're getting little pieces of that as well. Well, I personally feel that this volume was very exciting, very exhilarating. And from the first episode, I was immediately tapped back in. Now, I've been watching Stranger Things since the beginning of this show, okay? So I've been here since Season 1, and I never left. And honestly, I think my favorite season of the show was probably Season 3. So I'm maybe a little bit of an outlier in the Stranger Things community, where I know there's a lot of people that think Season 1 and 2 are like some of the best. But the thing that I love about Stranger Things is I think in the fandom, we can have different seasons that we love for different reasons. And I think all of them have pros and cons to them. And Season 5 is no exception to that. I think Season 5 is just complete nostalgia bomb, man. We've been doing this show since 2016. The world has totally changed. I have totally changed. You've totally changed. These kids have grown up. But that is what I really like about the season. I think there is an element of us all coming together to acknowledge the journey we've been on with the flashbacks, with the new de-aging technology, which is sometimes very good and other times looks really weird. I think some of the stuff with Will looks really weird, but the fact that we are going back to the beginning and acknowledging where this all started with Will's disappearance and everything kind of connecting back to that in the plot, this idea that Vecna needs these kids to, you know, break into the other world, I guess, restructure the world. I'm still a little unclear as to what his master plan is, but the fact that it's all connected back to that first disappearance with Will, I think is really cool. And I really love that we're bringing everything full circle. Now, are there some issues with the story? Are there maybe some inconsistencies in terms of what characters are doing? Or am I questioning some of the things and I don't have all the answers? Yes. However, just because I don't understand somebody's motivation doesn't mean that it can't still make sense. After all, we do need to remember this is only volume 1 of the show. There is more to come, and we are only seeing a little bit of what's going on. And I do believe that the Duffer Brothers have some more aces up their sleeves and have some more twists along the way. And there were some twists here that I wasn't expecting. I feel like the whole idea of what Vecna is up to is still a mystery to me. The point where he was going after Holly and went after the Wheelers, that was all very unexpected. Now, I did think that Holly was talking to some version of Henry. Once she had her imaginary friend, I thought, well, that could be Vecna right there. He gets into your head, am I right? So I called that part. But even the idea of 11 thinking that Vecna was in the facility, I thought that might be a possibility until we discovered more about what even the world that Holly is in is with Max. That was interesting, sort of the layers that we're going through in this psyche, this mind palace that is also tied to the Upside Down and everything that's going on with that. I thought that was really neat to explore. So I didn't really fully know everywhere we were going with it, because even though I suspected that Mr. Whatsit was going to be Vecna, I just didn't really fully comprehend how big this plan was. And I still don't really even understand, I think, the magnitude of it still. I think there's more for us to uncover, and I think more will be revealed about what's going on with Vecna, and we're going to get in his head a little bit more as we go down the line. At least I hope so, because there is a moment at the end of this volume where obviously Will has been struggling with his powers. He had this beautiful conversation with Robin where they talk about this idea of, you know, as you get older, you kind of build up all these walls and you tell yourself who you can and can't be. And it's only when Robin was able to look back at her past that she saw herself as she was as a kid, as she was free. And I love that conversation between Will and Robin. I think it's so beautiful and so moving and such a great theme for season 5 to have as these kids are fully growing up and coming into adulthood. It just feels right. And as someone who, I mean, that was a journey that I was on through the course of Stranger Things. So for me, it is very emotional, this show, because in a lot of ways was hiding myself away and hiding who I was and changing myself for other people because I thought that was the right move. And so I also had to go back and realize, you know, the only person keeping you imprisoned is you. And you have the power. You have all the answers. Trust yourself. So when Will does that at the end of the season, it's really powerful. But the buildup that we get with Vecna monologuing and basically being like, you're weak, and I choose, you know, all these young minds because they're weak, they're pliable, these bodies can't resist. So I like that I can reshape these youths. And that's why I picked you, because you're weak, Will, you're weak. And then Will rises up and taps into the hive mind and takes control of all the Demogorgons. And I just don't know why Vecna, after monologuing, would have left Will to do that. Like, Vecna, do you not know that this guy's tapping into your hive mind? I got to imagine you do, because you asked him if he could see the kids. So Vecna clearly knows. And now that could mean that Vecna just isn't threatened. I mean, Lucas said earlier in this volume, you know, if at any point Vecna wanted to kill us, he would have. He could have just do that easily at any time. So if he didn't, it must mean that there's some purpose. I think maybe they're more linked than Vecna would like to let on, and I think Will is starting to realize and utilize this power, and he may even be the key to defeating Vecna. I think 11 is also going to be key to that. Obviously, now we have 11's sister back in the mix from all the way back in season 2, remember when we did that? And I feel like we never talk about it. So I'm glad we brought it full circle here. And I'm glad we're going to talk about it more. I don't know if we're going to defeat everyone with the power of friendship. It's very possible in Stranger Things. It actually would be thematically fitting. And to be honest, I wouldn't really hate it. But I am hoping that there's more here than meets the eye. And there is more going on beyond just that. Because that is a little bit safe, a little bit predictable, and I was really hoping that season 5 was going to be throwing me some big curveballs, and it has. We've put a lot of characters in danger that I never thought would be in danger. I did not think that the Wheelers were going to be taken out this season. They are hanging on by a thread, still alive, but wow, that was a scary, that was scary. I thought it was a scary time, and I thought it was very well done. And the one thing I will say about this show is that this show is freaking money. They have a money and they are spending it. Just like you should take your money and spend it at Hot Topic. No, that was a terrible transition. They have money and they are using it. And that is also why they have released it the way they have, where they would like you to basically buy 2 months of subscription so that you can watch Stranger Things Volume 5, extending the release by releasing it in batches. Does the runtime need to be that long? Did they need to throw this much money at the show? I don't think so, but I don't hate it as someone that is super invested. And ultimately, I think that's who season 5 is for. I've been seeing a lot of reviews where people are talking about this idea of, not really feeling it as much. It's just been too long. There's been too much time between seasons, and they're just not here for it anymore. Like I said, we've changed. You've changed. I've changed. And for some people, that means that Stranger Things is no longer their bag. And they may have fallen off. I've heard people fall off as early as season 3. I've heard people fall off as early as season 2, actually, to be honest with you. So there are some people that checked out and now we're trying to check back in, I think, for this show. And I would say if that's you, maybe give it the first episode and see if it hooks you. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't continue with this. I think some people are watching this that don't really want to watch it and then are reviewing it like, well, I was never really super here for season 5 because so much time has passed. But I watched it and I'm still not here for it. Which is totally fine, by the way. It's great. I'm glad that you know that Stranger Things is not for you. However, for those of us that have been here for every single season, I think the hype is still there. I still feel it. I personally have loved it. And I was here for every season. Now, if you are a person that was here for every season and you feel differently about this show, let me know in the comments. Let me know. Because like I said, there are issues that I have with it. There are some character choices, some plot points, some things that we're doing. Why is not everybody in the military working with a flamethrower? We know heat. They literally say it. Dr. K says it in Volume 1, that heat is what weakens the creatures from the Upside Down. But we got one guy with a flamethrower and that's it. And unfortunately, he happened to come out when Vecna came out, and Vecna doesn't mess with flamethrowers. He just threw the flame back in his face. So I'm not sure why we're not doing that. That's a bit strange to me that we've learned nothing at this point as the military. And there are some other things. I mean, we have moms that can fight demogorgons because they're fighting for their kids when military with 1 bajillion weapons struggle. Is that a bit strange? The power of a mom is great, okay? And all I'm gonna say is, if we rounded up all the moms in Stranger Things and we just let them loose on the Demogorgons, we just said, your kids are threatened by this, the monsters are coming for them, would all the Demogorgons die? Would Vecna be defeated? Would Vecna run in terror from the moms? I think so. And like I said, this is only one part of the show, so maybe there will be some more explanations coming along that will make more sense of these things, or maybe we will never talk about them again. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm here for the characters, I'm here for the actors, I'm here for the cast, the connections that we forged over 5 seasons with this little found family, and that is why I love Stranger Things, and that's what I'm here for, and it's still delivering in that sense, so I will be here for it to the end. I hope we go out with a banger. That's pretty much all I have for this one, friends. If you liked this review, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Or if you didn't like this review, or if you like this show or don't like this show, let's talk about it down in the comments. Overall, I'd say for Volume 1, I think I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 5. There are still some problems that I have with it, but I'm still really enjoying it, and it's only our first act. And the first episode, it was like nostalgia overload for me. Man. man, it took me back in a really, really lovely way. So I'm hoping by the end I can give this season a 5, but we'll see what happens. A 5 for Stranger Things 5 would be so fitting, wouldn't it? I'll see you guys in the next one, and until next time, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you want me to review the earlier seasons of Stranger Things, also let me know in the comments. And check this out. This is great. You're gonna like it.